Hi guys, I'm Marticore. Hope you're having a great Spooktober. And for this Sims 2 Halloween special, we will finally talk about witches and warlocks. They were introduced in the Apartment Life expansion pack, and I know what you're thinking. It doesn't seem very in theme of this pack because it's about living in an apartment building and having neighbors, basically. Why witches then? My theory, and not only mine, definitely, I think I heard it somewhere and that's why it's my theory, is that it's simply the last expansion pack and the devs realized they hadn't made any kind of spellcaster occult yet, so they decided to just throw them in there as one of the features. They actually built a lot of that expansion pack around the existence of witches, which was a smart move to immerse them into a pack that doesn't exactly scream magic. They created a neighborhood full of apartment buildings and called it Belladonna Cove, referring to a poisonous berry often used in magic elixirs. Belladonna is a good word to also refer to Bella Goth at the same time, and to create a gigantic statue of her and place it in the neighborhood. In Belladonna Cove, we meet the Cordial twin sisters based on the Pleasant sisters in Pleasantview. They're not witches just yet, but their story very much implies that they're planning to become them, as they are friends with witches at the very start, making it super easy to do. Samantha and Kimberly will appear in most of this video's footage, so just bear in mind that whenever I say witches, I mean warlocks too. So how do you become a witch? If your sim is not one of the Cordial sisters and doesn't know any witches yet, all it takes is going to a community lot and waiting for the so-called High Witch to appear. The magic stealth hood spawns one good and one evil witch, sometimes even two for each, and they quite often appear on community lots to cast spells. You'll know when a witch is about to appear because even on the strongest gear, the game will freeze for a few seconds before it happens. Some people even say that it crashes their game. There are a few high witches, but if you move them in, the game will just spawn a new one in their place, and as the pre-made ones are all female, a warlock may be spawned too. Also, for some reason, the High Witch NPC has a very specific personality, and it doesn't matter if it's the good or the evil witch. Any sim from teen to elder can be changed into a witch. Your sim can ask a high witch to be taught the way of light or darkness depending on what type of witch is asked. For this interaction to appear, they must be friends with the witch but also have at least 70 short-term and 20 long-term relationship points. I am pretty sure that this interaction cannot be declined, so after asking, your sim will always be transformed into a witch and become the type of witch as the witch that was asked, just at a lower level of alignment, and a witch or warlock title will be immediately added to their name. And they get a special witch clothing that can be changed like any other clothes. You can just plan outfit and get rid of it. But when changing their alignment, increasing or decreasing it, they will get new clothes and you will have to plan them again, which is a little annoying, but at least it can be changed. Now that your sim has become a witch, they get a cauldron and a spell book to improve their witchcraft abilities and learn a few basic spells. There are two statistics for witches. There's the alignment, so how good or evil the witch is, and separately there's also the 10-level magic skill. They are technically two separate things, but very complementary since you learn both by doing general witchcraft, reading the spell book, using the cauldron and casting spells. And often to cast a spell you need both a certain level of skill and alignment. The alignment is increased or decreased through learning the ways of light, darkness, or neutral magics from the spellbook, and also casting certain types of spells. Learning neutral magics will make your sim stay in between, but the alignment doesn't have to be exactly at 0 for the witch to be neutral. If an evil witch studies the way of light long enough, they'll become neutral first and then good. And the other way around. Learning neutral magic as an evil or good witch will also bring them more into the center, so decrease their alignment. Notice how all the magic objects that belong to the sim change alignment too. There are different designs for good, neutral, and evil. Neutral witches only have one title, just the witch or warlock. but good and evil witches have a few different titles. A good witch or warlock is first nice, then good, and then infallibly good. At the good state, they will have sparkles on their skin, and at the infallibly good, there's also a bright aura around them. Good aura is blue. Evil witches start as mean, then go to evil, and then to atrociously evil. At the evil state, the sim becomes green. At the atrociously evil state, they also get a green aura around them. Of course, both the good and the evil skin is just an overlay. I had a theory about occult overlays that all of them prevent the sim from getting a tan. The evil witch completely destroyed that theory. The two skin overlays can coexist and the witch will become darker. The evil witch portrayal in the game is heavily inspired by The Wizard of Oz, especially the 1939 movie that created this archetype of an evil witch having green skin, black clothes, and a pointy hat, and a pointy nose most of the time. Fun fact, Elphaba is only green because it was one of the first movies made in Technicolor, so the creators wanted to use as many bright colors as they could. The broom, however, that is used in the game for transportation, it even has a separate interaction of flying, and any type of witch can use it. This is a very old mythical idea for witches that goes back to like the 14th century, you know, the burn all the witches times. The good witch looks probably refer to the same movie from 1939, but is a more loose interpretation, I would say. It just looks more like the opposite of the evil witch in The Sims 2. Neutral aura is orange, and since neutral witches don't really have any special effects in their looks, this can only be seen when casting spells. It doesn't matter what type of spell the witch is casting, the color of aura from their magic wand will align with their alignment. Once your witch knows some spells, to cast them, they need to use the cauldron to make reagents required for that spell, and you can check that in the spellbook, and the reagents need to be in their inventory. The reagents are crystallized moonbeams, dragon scales, essence of light, eye of newt, mystic dust, and viper's essence. The Sims 2 has the biggest number of spells out of all Sims games. There are 10 good, 10 evil, and 13 neutral, making it a total of 33. Some spells are quite mundane, while others can be very powerful. Good spells make other Sims' lives better, and it goes from simply increasing their motives through extinguishing fires to saving Sims from death. Evil spells can cause quite a lot of chaos, from little things like making Sims throw up for no reason, through starting fires, breaking up couples, or wiping someone's memory, up to making a dead Sim a zombie. Neutral spells can be quite powerful too, as one of them is Magus Mutatio, that changes a targeted Sim into a witch. And that is the same exact spell as the NPC high witches use. Spells types can be checked in the spellbook. They are divided into categories, but from the cast spell menu, you can't really tell which spell belongs to which alignment unless you memorize them. Which isn't easy because the names are some kind of Latin wannabe language, which does suggest the function of the spell, it's not completely gibberish, and also the rhymed descriptions of the spells in the spellbook give you a pretty good idea of what they do. But still, I do kind of wish that in the cast spell menu we had a submenu or additional info in brackets, or like an icon or something that would tell us which alignment this is, for those who only want to cast a particular type of spells. Some spells require other packs than just apartment life. Any spell that has something to do with weather will require seasons, but there's also an option to summon a feline familiar that requires pets. The cat is translucent, and the color of its coat and aura depends on the alignment. Very similarly to witches, so they are a matching accessory. They function like real pets to a certain extent, but they don't have a gender, they lack the bladder need, they don't age, and can't reproduce or get a job. When one of their needs is low or their master is off the lot, they disappear but can be summoned again. You can name the cat the first time you summon it, but then when you summon it again, it will be the same cat. And if your witch changes alignment, the already existing familiar will change its color. There's also a glitch where the familiar is in cat form. It has a cat body, but is in fact a dog. Like, it barks and you can play fetch with it. And I'm not telling you this because I read it somewhere, I'm telling you this because it actually randomly happened in my game. The only spell that could have required an additional pack and it doesn't, it's the spell that changes a dead sim into a zombie. This doesn't require university. You can see all the spells and what they do on the Sims wiki, and only Abidoang showed all of them in a video, so I don't feel the need to showcase all of them. But I will tell you that I really like the spells that summon a spooky servant. From a good spell, it's to do chores. From an evil spell, it's to fight the targeted sim. A good witch's spectral assistant will sometimes drink tap water, and this may generate a puddle since, the servant is a void in witch clothes. I love that. But absolutely the coolest spell, in my opinion, especially from a technical perspective, is I think like the top tier, the last neutral spell that you learn, called, as I say it, Tempus Interruptus. That stops time. The clock freezes and all sims that are not witches stop moving. Really makes me think of Charmed, and it just simply looks awesome. And you need to cast another free but still a spell to make everything move again. It's not temporary, you are in charge of it. What's also very useful is the Magivestigium, or whatever, the ability to teleport. It's technically a neutral spell, but it doesn't require any reagents and doesn't have a casting animation. It's not even under the cast spell category. It's a separate interaction that you do, the same as teleportation, just clicking on the ground, and it can be done anywhere at any time. Witches can cast spells on other spellcasters as well as their own self. Is it possible for one witch or warlock to know all 33 spells? Actually, no. From what I've tested, evil or good spells are mostly learned at the moment of becoming a mean or nice witch, or a higher alignment. But once your sim changes alignment, they lose some spells from the opposite alignment. So a nice witch may only know 3 evil spells, and the other way around. And a maxed out neutral witch may only know 4 good and 4 evil. You can't have it all. Aside from reagents, witches can also use the cauldron to craft potions and special objects. Any potion that you would normally buy from the matchmaker or another NPC can be crafted by a witch with a high enough skill. But there is also the magically spiced sugar that can be only made by good witches, and the enchanted essence of curtails, only made by evil ones. When a sim drinks it, the former makes them hug another sim on the lot, and the latter makes them poke another sim. Sims can be influenced to drink the potion if it's placed somewhere, so it doesn't have to be a controllable sim. Must be fun at parties. As for the unique objects that can be crafted, there are 3 types of good and evil lamps, but the most useful is the throne. Only an infallibly good or an atrociously evil witch can make the good or the evil throne. When a witch sits on it, all of their needs go up pretty fast. Keep in mind that the evil throne will only work on evil witches and the other way around. A neutral witch can use both. And another object that can be crafted by any type of witch and is pretty easy to learn is Wendelin, a sculpture of a witch character from my Sims. In the Magic Stealth Hood, there are also 2 secret lots that can only be visited by witches. The Fortress of Eternal Darkness and the Palace of Never-Ending Light. Basically an evil witch castle and a good witch castle. There are no restrictions when it comes to alignment, any type of witch can visit any type of castle. I have to say both of the buildings are quite impressive, especially on the outside, but I think the good castle wins in my eyes. It's exceptionally beautiful. Inside there are special good or evil objects such as the cauldron and the throne, but also a few neutral cauldrons that any witch can use. And some other furniture that suggests that this is actually the witch's house. Let's talk about some details, such as idle animations. A good witch will sometimes act dreamy or take out their magic wand, and the evil witches will often perform an evil laugh or look like they're plotting something. And I think neutral witches might not have any idle animations. when a non-witch sim examines a cauldron, this is the only interaction that they have, they will react negatively to it and have to go get a glass of water immediately. This also happens if a good or neutral witch examines an evil cauldron and the other way around. While the pre-made high witches have a visible conflict and will often fight when on the same lot, a good and evil witch can easily be friends. There's really nothing stopping them. Of course, being a witch isn't hereditary, but if a spellcaster parent knows the Magus Mutatio spell, they can change their offspring once they become teenagers, as with many other occults. How do you cure a witch and become a normie again? In this case, it's probably the most simple thing ever, because a qualified witch can craft the Witch Begone E potion and just drink it. They can cure themselves on a whim, pretty much. No need to call the matchmaker and buy anything, but you can. If the sim becomes a witch or warlock again after being cured, all of their previous magic skills will stay. Except that the number of known good or evil spells may change depending on alignment. It depends on what type of witch they were before, and what type of witch changes them into a witch again. And that is it! Boy, I hope I didn't miss anything important, because witches are actually pretty complex in this game. Even though there's plenty of information out there, I hope I managed to throw in a few interesting details that haven't been covered before. If there's a particular thing you learned from this video, tell me in the comments what it is. I don't know what I'm gonna do next October if every spooky occult is done. I'll think of something. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye! So many difficult pronunciations in this one, Jesus. 2 different spellings of that word in my document, never mind. It's infallibly, not infallibly. It's not from falling. Infallible, 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 infallibly, infallibly, infallibly.